till I can't no more.
I got the horses in the bag. Horse stock is a tag.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Protocol 36. Today I'll be analysing the meaning behind each final swing from the Spider-Man films, both live action and animated. I'll be looking at final swings because that's when it has a significant meaning after each Spider-Man has learned a valuable lesson from their respective films. As much as I love every single web swinging scene in every Spider-Man film, especially the Amazing Spider-Man 2 web swinging and the What's Up Danger scene in Into the SpiderVerse, I won't be analysing those. It's also important to note that not every Spider-Man film has a final swing, those films being Spider-Man 3, The Amazing Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man Homecoming, as they don't have it for different reasons. Spider-Man 3 ended with Peter Parker and Mary Jane forgiving each other and themselves for what happened and helping each other to heal after the death of Harry. The Amazing Spider-Man 2, after quitting his life as Spider-Man for months due to feeling responsible for Gwen's death, Peter had the courage to finally go as New York's savior and save the citizen of New York from Rhino, carrying out Gwen's wishes for him. And in Homecoming, Peter rejected Tony Stark's offer to join the Avengers, as he felt like he needed to help out the little guy, which then earns the Stark suit back, and ends with Aunt May finding out her nephew is Spider-Man. So now let's start with Spider-Man 2002. Spider-Man 2002 was pretty much the first Spider-Man film to start off this wonderful trend, kinda making a tradition for Spider-Man films to end with a final swing. However, to analyse the meaning behind this final swing, we have to look at the scene before it, where Mary Jane declares her love for Peter. However, due to his responsibilities as Spider-Man, and the possibilities that she could get kidnapped for being the lover of Spider-Man, like the Green Goblin did earlier in the film, Peter could not bear the thought, and therefore telling Mary Jane that his friendship is all that he can give. From there on, Peter declares himself as Spider-Man, answering the "Who am I?" question he first asks himself in the beginning of the film, and swore to use his newfound powers to protect the innocent, repeating Uncle Ben's wise words, "With great power comes great responsibility," becoming his gift and curse. Final swing though, beautiful and graceful it may look, he doesn't express his excitement like he would do in Spider-Man 2, but pretty much silent, as he took on the responsibility as New York's protector, but doesn't allow himself to be happy, rejects love because of his responsibility, doesn't allow him to have it, or so he believes. The final swing in Spider-Man 2002 shows that Peter, from there on, will take his responsibility as Spider-Man as his number one priority, which may probably be one of the reasons why he moved out from Aunt May's, as she was attacked by the Goblin in the same film too. However, as we see in Spider-Man 2, this decision severely hurt his personal life as Peter Parker. Moving over to Spider-Man 2, after Mary Jane runs out of her own wedding and she was supposed to marry John Jameson, Mary Jane wants to reunite with Peter, expressing her love for him again. Understanding that and willing to take the risks of being Spider-Man's girlfriend, Peter tries to reject it again, however ultimately is thankful towards her and shares a passionate kiss, which was interrupted by the police and fire sirens. Peter exits and performs an epic web-swinging sequence. With this final swing, you can just tell the energy that it radiates. After everything Peter has gone through in this film, after everything not being able to live the life he wanted to live, he finally gets it with Mary Jane, answering the question he asks himself earlier in the film: can I not have what I want, what I need? This is also the only web-swinging sequence in Spider-Man 2 where Peter is actually cheerful, showing that he can still fulfill his responsibilities as Spider-Man, but also be happy. At this point, Spider-Man more so becomes a blessing rather than a curse. After sacrificing so much, after being unhappy for so long, Raimi's Peter Parker finally gets the happy ending he deserves. However, the filmmakers made an important decision, not ending the film Peter's epic swing, but with a shot of Mary Jane watching Peter, possibly thinking to herself, if it's always going to be like this, Peter rescuing people while she's alone, maybe thinking about whether this was the right decision or not. This also mirrors Peter looking at Mary Jane's picture on the billboard in the opening of the film. The Amazing Spider-Man's final swing isn't too different from Spider-Man 2002's in terms of the meaning, not talking about the look, but I believe the meaning behind the film's final swing is pretty much supposed to be about acceptance. This Peter Parker also has to deal with the death of Uncle Ben. Yes, Taz and Peter is still trying to look for the killer of Uncle Ben, but he realizes that he should also be using his great power to defend the defenseless, becoming Here's New York's hero, a hero his Uncle Ben believed him to be, as he had the courage to hear his voicemail, a message Uncle Ben was trying to tell him. Peter accepts that Uncle Ben is gone, though still believes his killer should be brought to justice. As seen, he still has the drawing on his wall, but also has Gwen to help him, and in return to help her, as they both lost their fathers. The final swing symbolizes Captain Stacy's final word to Peter. He will have to continue to fight the good fight as Spider-Man, as that is his newfound destiny, literally. For Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Miles Morales, the protagonist of the film, defeats Kingpin and saves the entire multiverse, fulfilling the promise he made to Peter Parker of his universe before his untimely death. Miles gets a final swing, shows that he learns the valuable lesson, that being anyone can be Spider-Man, and most importantly, anyone can be a hero, which was a statement Stan Lee, the co-creator of Spider-Man, noted. One of the reasons people love the character of Spider-Man so much in the comics was because they can see themselves in him. That when he's wearing the suit, you don't see his skin color, that Spider-Man can be anyone, as the character of Peter Parker is pretty much your average Joe. That not only do we relate to that, but also inspires us to do more, to be more. A lesson Miles takes to heart, as he clearly states in his narration, especially as he met different Spider people from different universes. His final swing is a nice addition, as the other Spider people had their own introductions. While Miles was trying to figure himself out and his powers, towards the end of the film, he finally understands, becoming his very own Spider-Man, and honoring the Spider-Man in his universe, and his Uncle Aaron. Spider-Man Far From Home, Amy Pascal actually talks about the final swing. That was the design, she said. That finally at the end when you see him, because we had rules about never having him swing in New York from Homecoming in the beginning. When Kevin and I, talk about Kevin Feige, first started talking about doing this together, and finally we felt we've earned the right to see him swing around New York City. And boy, doesn't that look awesome. And indeed it does. When promoting the film, she notes that Far From Home is about Peter turning from a boy to a man, which makes sense as Peter in the film and before the events of Far From Home went through a lot, with him going to space to fight evil Titan, been dead for 5 years, came back, which to him seemed like a little time has gone by, going into another huge battle, this time on Earth, fighting to help save the entire universe, and then met with Tony Stark's death later, who was pretty much his father figure after Uncle Ben in the MCU. So yeah, Peter went through a lot and continues to go through more, with Mysterio using his illusions against Peter. However, Peter learns to trust his instincts, knows that he doesn't have to be the next Iron Man, as everyone wants him to be, but continue to be Spider-Man, to learn from his mistakes and grow, acknowledges that Tony wasn't perfect and moves on from him. If the final swing is about anything, it's about growth. You can see this growth more obvious in Spider-Man Homecoming, where it shows that Peter was afraid of heights, and now in Far From Home, you see him swinging in Manhattan from building to building, showing how much he's grown since then and how much trust he has in his abilities. Rising to be on top, from Spider-Boy to Spider-Man, that he can still be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, but also handle larger threats when he is needed, as that is his responsibility. However, what about you guys? You agree with my analysis on each final swing from the Spider-Man films? You think they each have a different meaning? You think it was obvious, or you think they're just spectacles? Let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this, please like, and if you haven't yet, I would appreciate it if you subscribe to begin Protocol 36.